What is the most effective way for Fremantle to create a shot on goal? Shallow forward 50 entry or deep forward 50 entry? Location of entry. A deep entry is deemed when the ball lands or a marking contest takes place within 30 metres of the goal line. A shallow entry is deemed when the ball lands or a marking contest takes place 30 to 50 metres from the goal line. Inside 50 entry method. Run and carry is when a Fremantle player crosses their forward 50 arc whilst in possession of the ball. Handball is when a Fremantle player hand passes the ball into their forward 50 arc. Short kick is when a Fremantle player kicks the ball into their forward 50 arc and the ball travels less than 25 metres. Long kick is when a Fremantle player kicks the ball into their forward 50 arc and the ball travels more than 25 metres. Opposition pressure is deemed when an opposition player is within 2 metres of the intended receiving player within the forward 50 arc. Outcome of inside 50. Shot is when a Fremantle player makes a deliberate attempt to kick a goal. Opposition is when the West Coast Eagles win back possession of the football and clear the 50-metre arc. Ball up is when neither team wins possession of the ball and the umpire performs a ball up to resume play. Inside 50, speed of entry. Fast entry is when less than 8 seconds have elapsed once Fremantle gains possession of the ball or crosses the halfway line prior to an inside 50. Slow entry is when 8 or more seconds elapse once Fremantle gain possession of the ball or crosses the halfway line prior to the inside 50. For their deep inside 50 entries, Fremantle were able to have shots on goal 42.8% of the time. This dropped down to 38.4% on shallow entries. We are also able to see on deep inside 50 entries, West Coast Eagles won back possession 42.8% of the time, but with shallow entries, this rose to 53.8% of the time. This shows Fremantle get more chances to score with deep inside 50 entries and also make it harder for the opposition to win back possession. In this clip, we're able to see when Fremantle get a deep inside 50 entry, they put West Coast Eagles defence under pressure and draw West Coast Eagles defenders out of their usual defensive positioning, which results in more scoring opportunities for Fremantle. Fast inside 50 entries resulted in shots 35.7% of the time. This increased to 50% for slow inside 50 entries. Also, with fast inside 50 entries, West Coast Eagles won back possession 57.1% of the time. On slower entries, this dropped down to 33.3% of the time. From this clip, we can see fast inside 50 entries by Fremantle resulted in quick kicks that went high into the air and a contest formed. This allowed West Coast Eagles defenders to make a spoil in the marking contest and also set up players around the contest to win back the ball and clear the 50-metre arc, preventing Fremantle a chance to score. For inside 50 entries with no opposition pressure, 100% of entries resulted in shots on goal, but when opposition pressure was present, only 25% of entries resulted in shots on goal, allowing the opposition to win back possession of the ball 62.5% of the entries or cause a ball up 12.5% of the entries. With both entries in this clip, West Coast Eagles were able to engage their defensive structure and outnumber Fremantle players at the contest, spoil the ball, and ultimately able to win back possession and clear the 50-metre arc, denying Fremantle a shot on goal. Inside 50 entries from short kicks resulted in shots on goal 66.6% of the time, whereas inside 50 entries from long kicks only resulted in shots on goal 37.5% of the time. The one handball entry into inside 50 was turned over and West Coast Eagles won back possession of the ball and cleared the 50-metre arc. By utilising short kicks to a leading forward on these inside 50 entries, Fremantle were able to put the ball to their teammates' advantage and increase their chances for shots on goal. Strengths. Fremantle's strengths are hitting short kicks to lead up forwards. 66.6% of inside 50s from short kicks resulted in shots on goal. Fremantle also have Aaron Sandilands, who is the tallest player in the competition, and when playing forward he is very hard to defend without giving away a free kick. Weaknesses. Fremantle forwards are 12 centimetres shorter than opposing West Coast Eagles defenders, making it easier for West Coast Eagles to defend long kicks into Fremantle's forward 50 area, as long kicks generally come in higher. 60% of inside 50s from long kicks were turned over or a ball up occurred. Opportunities. Fremantle forward line players are shorter than opposing West Coast Eagles defenders. By working together and creating space to lead into, it will give them more opportunities to have shots on goal. Passing the ball to the free man inside 50 resulted in 100% of shots on goal. West Coast Eagles defenders are very well structured and easily able to intercept or force turnover when kicking to a teammate under direct opposition pressure. Under opposition pressure, only 18.75% of inside 50s resulted in shots on goal. Recommendation 1. Change the mode of ball movement into Fremantle's forward 50. by using shorter kicks to find an open man or lead up forward. In the first half, 3 of 20 inside 50s were short kicks. 16 were long kicks, but 60% of those resulted in opposition turnover or a ball up. Recommendation 2. When long kicks are required into Fremantle's forward 50, they need to make them deep inside 50 entries. To do this, Fremantle should run and carry the ball up the field to get the inside 50 deep and place the West Coast Eagles defence under pressure. This is to nullify West Coast Eagles' strength, their defensive structure. Recommendation 3. When West Coast Eagles have set up their defence structure, Fremantle need to slow down their ball movement to help find the better option. As Fremantle forwards are shorter than West Coast Eagles defenders, bombing the ball in fast will play into West Coast Eagles' strengths. In the first half, slow entries resulted in 50% shot on goal. However, only 6 of the 20 entries were slow. Recommendation 4. Aaron Sandilands is the tallest player in the competition. He is 11 centimetres taller than any other player on the field. By playing him forward more, he will add another dimension to Fremantle's forward line, other than lead-up forwards, and make it harder for West Coast Eagles to defend. Through my analysis of the first half of the 2015 Round 20 match between Fremantle and West Coast Eagles, I was able to find that 38.4% of shallow forward 50 entries resulted in shots on goal, and a slight increase to 42.8% of deep forward 50 entries resulted in shots on goal. When comparing just the shallow forward 50 entries to deep forward 50 entries, deep forward 50 entries provided a slight increase in shots on goal. However, when comparing with other variables measured, I found deep forward 50 entries from long kicks resulted in shots on goal 42.8% of the time, and shallow forward 50 entries via long kicks dropped to 33.3% of the time. When checking shallow and deep forward 50 entries against speed of inside 50 entry, it showed deep fast forward 50 entries resulted in shots on goal 33.8% of the time, and deep slow forward 50 entries resulted in shots on goal 100% of the time. Shallow fast inside 50 entries resulted in shots on goal 37.5% of the time, and shallow slow inside 50 entries resulted in shots on goal 40% of the time. Then comparing shallow and deep forward 50 entries with opposition pressure or not showed that 100% of shallow and deep forward 50 entries with no opposition pressure resulted in shots on goal. This dropped down when opposition pressure was present, 33.3% from deep forward 50 entries, and down further to 20% on shallow forward 50 entries. From my analysis, the most effective way for Fremantle to achieve shots on goal is inside 50 entries under no opposition pressure, which came in at 100%, or deep forward 50 entries from long kicks at 42.8%.